This is Brett Waltemath of Star Watch Media here in East Hampton, New York for the 19th annual Hamptons International Film Festival. Gentlemen, let's see, Jeff, who lives at home here premiering at the 19th annual Hamptons International Film Festival, can you please discuss the film with us to start?
Sure. The movie is called Jeff Who Lives at Home. It's about a guy named Jeff who lives in his mother's basement at the age of 30 years old, who is basically sitting in the basement thinking about the nature of his life, his destiny, how the universe works, and how the universe eventually is going to pluck him and teach him what his great purpose is going to be. But for a casual observer, it might look like he's just sitting in the basement smoking pot, spinning his wheels. So, Mark and I had this idea to take one of these guys that, we're fans of in life and actually put him in the universe and see what would happen if some of these ideas that he has start coming alive.
This was a film that had its world premiere at the Toronto Film Festival, I believe 2 months ago. For you guys, both as writers and directors, focusing on the comedic genre, is there more stress on you guys when you're facing your world premiere, hoping that people will react to the jokes that you're hoping that they'll react to, and does it just kind of add more stress that you guys deal with the comedic genre? And what was the reaction at the world premiere?
I don't know if stress is the right word, but you're always, anxious about how people are going to like your movie. That said, a movie like Jeff Who Lives at Home, while I think you could label it as a comedy, it is in more ways more of a dramedy. And the jokes that we're doing are not sort of the big, aha, laugh jokes that you would see in movies that Jason Segel and Ed Helms have been in. It's much more of a subtle thing. So for us, it's really not so much about like, oh my God, this was our big joke. Did it work or not? It really is just, is the audience engaged with the film? And that's something that you can feel, and we're not attached to whether they should be laughing at a certain moment or, in some cases even cringing at some of the awkward humor that is there. It's really just, we sit in the back of the room and we like to kind of watch the movie a little bit. And it's almost about, are they laying back in their seats, or are they a little bit forward engaged in the film? And, so far we've screened the film publicly only 3 times, but everybody's been with it. So that's a good sign.
Now, you guys said that both Jason Segel and Ed Helms, that the audience will see them like they've never been seen before from an acting standpoint, and I immediately thought of Cyrus and Jonah Hill, and very much that was the reaction to Jonah Hill's character, that we saw Jonah Hill for the first time playing a character and playing a role that he's never really done anything like. Do you guys kind of make that your goal in your films, to find certain actors in the industry and really challenge them and try to bring them into a role that they have not done before? Is that what you guys try to do?
It's definitely not a goal per se, but I guess it is something that we've realized that we enjoy doing, is, because Mark and I are always just looking for something new and looking for something different. But I think more than anything, we're attracted to these types of actors, these comedic actors originally, because we see a lot of darkness and a lot of hilarity and a lot of humanity in them. And also they're really good at improvising, and, although we do improvise for comedy, we also improvise all of our dramatic scenes, and that's something that we find that these guys, they're used to walking into a room and kind of making it up as they go. Of course, we're using a script, but we really like to encourage people to come off the cuff and re-say the words the way that they feel right in the moment. So I don't know what it is about those guys and those types of actors, but they feel like my brother and I feel when we're hanging out. They have an appreciation for the funny things in life, but also the tragic things in life that lead to them being funny, and they seem to be able to embody a certain amount of sadness and just hilarity in what they do.
What were your recommendations to Jason Segel on set to prepare him for his character?
We don't do a lot of rehearsals or early talk with our actors. We try to bring the instinctual into the filmmaking process, and so we very rarely even direct the first take. We set the script, we have a meeting, we talk about the basics of the film, and then we just start shooting. And what happens then is you either get magic in the first take, and the kind of magic that only not being prepared can give you, or you get a train wreck. And we're kind of comfortable with both. So sometimes the first take is like, oh my God, we got it, and we start going with that. And sometimes like, okay, that was terrible, so let's rework it. But that kind of spontaneity is what keeps, at least for us, the filmmaking fresh and keeps the process exciting and lets everybody kind of engage and feel like an equal creative partner, which our actors definitely are with us. So it's really just a question of, showing up on set and trying to bring your most inspired self to it so you can find something new.
What do you guys say that, from the standpoint of being writers, that the comedic genre is one of the more difficult genres to be a screenwriter for, dealing with, again, kind of referencing back to Toronto and screening a comedic film, just hoping that as you're writing that, you're gonna get the reaction to the jokes that you want reactions from. Is this one of the more difficult genres to write for?
We wouldn't really know because honestly, we don't really think about our career in terms of where it sits in the scope of other things. Honestly, like Mark and I went to film school at the University of Texas. We spent a long time trying to be the Coen brothers and then failing at being the Coen brothers and just trying to make any movie that was decent at all. And it took us a long time before we made one. And, it wasn't until we really just started exploring and exploiting like the private conversations that we have about ourselves, our own lives, the really embarrassing stuff that we do, and then, cringing at first and then giggling about it later. What we realize now is that's what we're doing with film. And like Mark was saying, it's really a dramatic film first. So what we're doing is we're just doing, we're doing dramatic scenes, but we're kind of like doing these twists and tweaks on them that, hopefully people will laugh, but, it's actually not critical that people laugh at this movie, So I'm sure it would probably be true that, doing this kind of threading the needle type of thing, if we thought about it a lot, it would put a lot of pressure on us. But we try not to think about it too much. We try not to intellectualize it. We really try to just be true to what we experience and how we experience the world, and try and relate it to people in a very honest and dramatic sense, and then hopefully make them laugh too while it's happening.
Well, and I think that you made an interesting point with that, because almost I think that a lot of your films can be described as almost comedies by accident. Almost dramatic films that then you don't know whether or not you're supposed to laugh to it, but they do end up very comedic and very fun. For aspiring filmmakers, would you say that, as you were saying earlier, that you can't try to be someone else or be the Coen brothers, but just be individuals and be your own creative selves? Would you say that's the best recommendation that you can give to young filmmakers?
I think, the specifics of that are, if you're trying to figure out who you are as an artist and who you are as a filmmaker, the first place you should probably look are at the in-depth conversations that you're having with your siblings, your parents, your friends, because that is most likely where your area of expertise lies, And, for instance, Jay and I are basically, middle-class suburban guys. That's how we were raised. And, the problems of ours are not famine or genital mutilation. We have the problems of ours are about relationships, and that's what we should make movies about. So we would just encourage that in younger filmmakers, like, for lack of a better word, write what you know, but also specifically try to mine your particular sense of humor, your particular sense of drama, because that's what you'll be good at.
What we have to look forward to that's currently in pre-production and production.
Well, we made another small movie in the vein of the Puffy Chair and Baghead with our friends, and just kind of like a homemade type of film called the Dodecapentathlon that we actually had to shelve because we got our first studio movie Cyrus a couple of years ago, and we got Jeff back to back. So we had the great fortune of having a movie kind of waiting in the wings. So once we finished editing this Jeff movie, we jumped right back into the Dodeca, and hopefully we'll be releasing it, sometime later in 2012 after Jeff comes out. And of course, we're just writing a bunch of stuff and talking about millions of people and movie ideas as we go along.
Tell us a little bit about Dodeca Pentathlon really quickly.
The Dodeca Pentathlon is based on a real relationship of two brothers that we grew up around in New Orleans, Louisiana, who created a 25-event faux Olympics in order to determine who, in fact, was the better athlete between the two, and it ended in controversy. And our movie takes place about 20 years later, where the brothers are overweight, and they should not be competing in such events anymore.
Great. And then Jeff Lives at Home. When will it be coming out in theaters to the audience?
Jeff releases on March 2nd, and it will be kind of going wide towards the end of the month. Yeah.
Thank you again, gentlemen. It was a pleasure, and I appreciate the time. Best of luck in the future. Enjoy the rest of the festival. Thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah.